Hello there, I'm a day late reviewing 2010's From Paris with Love. Have you ever wanted to watch John Travolta chew scenery and kill bad guys? If so, then I've got a movie for you. From Paris with Love is an interesting movie. It was written by Luc Besson, the writer-director responsible for such movies as The Fifth Element and Leon the Professional. It was directed by Pierre Morel, who was responsible for District B-13 and Taken. And finally, it has John Travolta, who shows us that he's able to chew scenery like no one's business.
Kitchen staff? There's no kitchen staff shedding lead like that. No kitchen staff.
And yet, I can't say that I ever hear anyone talking about it, or see anyone referencing it. This is a forgotten or never discovered action movie that I feel deserves a bit more love. So, short review. From Paris with Love is the story of one James Reese, a young assistant to the American ambassador to France. He excels at his job, but is bored with it. As it turns out, he does errands for the CIA on the side and dreams of becoming a covert agent. And one day, his dreams come true.
Excellent!
Have you ever heard the admonition, "Be careful what you wish for"? There is a reason people say that.
Bogus.
The CIA is lacking assets in France, and they team Reese up with a covert agent by the name of Charlie Wax. Reese is tasked with picking Wax up and doing what he says. It's all a bit convoluted, but Wax is after a group of Pakistani terrorists that have come to France. It turns out that they are funding their evil ways via the drug trade. So Wax and Reese start their search at a suspected drug distribution point in the form of a Chinese restaurant. A restaurant run by the Triads. Wax shakes the tree a little bit to find out who their supplier is. With that in hand, they head to the supplier's hideout. This time it's a tenement house. More gunplay is involved. We eventually find out that they were surveilling Reese and plan to attack the summit meeting that is going to be attended by the U.S. ambassador and other dignitaries. So now the race is on to find the last two suicide bombers who plan to blow up the meeting and stop them. The first time I saw this movie, I really enjoyed it. It's quick-paced, has good action, and Travolta has a lot of fun in the role of Charlie Wax. If you are looking for an entertaining, if somewhat traditional shoot-'em-up film, then this should do you nicely. Check it out. Long review. Are you ready for a little chaos and mayhem? Warning, spoilers ahead. Meet James Reese. He is the assistant to the American ambassador to France. Life is good. He has a lovely girlfriend named Caroline. He's good at his job. There's just one problem. It's all a bit boring. So he has a side job with the CIA. They have him doing small things like planting bugs and changing the license plates on company cars. All the while he dreams of becoming
Bond. James Bond.
Then one day, the call finally comes. They are short agents in France and need him to assist one of their covert agents, one Charlie Wax. It's Reese's job to get him past customs and do whatever Wax says. Once they're through customs, Wax wants to go to a specific Chinese restaurant. It is here that Wax shows that he is not the subtlest of covert agents.
Hey, take it easy. The guy said he doesn't speak Chinese.
Maybe this is something he does speak.
What the Wax? The guy's just a waiter.
Well, if he's our waiter.
Wax says that he's looking for something from Pakistan that the Chinese restaurant has imported. Reese is taken aback and then chaos erupts. Turns out the restaurant is a Triad front, and all too soon the bullets start flying. It's a decent action scene, but be warned, this was edited at a time when filmmakers thought that shaky cam would add excitement to an action scene and not annoy the viewer. Personally, that was a fad of the late 90s, early 2000s that I was happy to see go away. Wax has Reese collect some of the cocaine, and then they leave so that they can follow the waiter to his boss. They make their way to the boss in another hail of lead, and find a rather respectable man watching his kids perform a dance for a group of parents. Wax puts a gun in the man's side and has Reese translate for him. All they want is the address of the person who delivers the cocaine, and then they will leave in peace. Once they get the address, they attempt to leave in peace, but the man's henchmen have different ideas. More mayhem ensues, but they make it out fine. Next up, Reese is on the phone with his CIA handler. His experience as a covert agent isn't exactly what he imagined it would be.
What?
He's got me walking around with a vase full of coke, sir.
No way.
His handler assures him that while Wax's methods are extreme, he always gets the results that the CIA wants, so just shut up and do what Wax says. So then they head to a seedy part of town so that Wax can enjoy some time with a lady of the afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
While Wax is indulging himself in a little leisure time, he has Reese watching the bank the Pakistanis are using to launder their drug money. After a bit, Reese spots some shady-looking characters, and fortunately our Lady of the Afternoon is very good at her job as Wax comes out to see that they are indeed some shady-looking characters. They then follow him to a tenement house. Aha! We have our terrorists. And you know what that means.
Game on! Game on!
As we have seen, Wax is good at his job, and soon the terrorist cell is wiped out. But they discover something interesting.
There's a wall covered in pictures of Reese. It looks like the terrorists have been watching Reese for some reason.
With the terrorists dead and the police arriving on the scene, they leave before they get arrested. While Wax and Reese are taking a few moments to ruminate about the day's events, Reese gets a text from his fiancée saying that dinner is ready and to bring his friend. Wax says why not and joins him. At Reese's apartment, they meet up with Caroline and her friend Nicole. As the girls set the table, they bust Wax's ball about taking Reese to the red light district. He gets a call from his handlers and excuses himself and takes it. To the sharp-eared among us, you will hear that they found a single number that shows up on the terrorist cell phones from the tenement building. He tells them to keep after the number and he returns to the others. The girls once again bust his balls, and he admits that he is an agent and that they were on business. Reese is shocked at everything that Wax admits to, but the girls don't seem to be taking it seriously as he says that they have killed many people today. Once dinner gets underway properly, Nicole gets a call looking for someone named Rose. She tells them that they have the wrong number, and Wax pulls his gun out and he shoots her dead. That was a call from the CIA tracking down the number that they had appeared on all the terrorist cell phones, and Rose was a code word to alert Wax. Both Reese and Caroline are horrified, but Wax shows that he discovered a bug in the apartment earlier, and now Reese is looking at Caroline like WTF. She denies everything, but then pulls a gun and shoots Reese in the shoulder and bails out the back. Wax follows after her, and they have a nice chase across several roofs before she makes it to the street level and jumps into a car waiting for her. Later, back at the apartment, we see several agents searching it, and they have found multiple bugs and cameras. Reese is kicking himself for being so blind, and Wax tells him not to be so hard on himself. He asks Reese if they have any ideas what Caroline might be up to, where she might go. Reese admits to barely knowing anything about her. Fortunately, Caroline then calls to say that she didn't mean to hurt him, but that she met a man months ago who gave her life purpose, a cause to follow. She then hangs up. It's no good. She wasn't on the phone long enough to get a trace.
Bogus.
But even more fortunately, Reese's boss calls to ask where he is.
Oh, how convenient!
He tells Reese that he was supposed to be at the airport greeting the head of the U.S. delegation for the U.S.-Africa Aid Summit. Wax is excited. That has to be the target. He gets one of the other agents and they take off to intercept a terrorist before they can kill the U.S. delegation en route. Meanwhile, Reese stays in the apartment. Something just isn't right. Well, something other than his fiancée being an Islamic terrorist. He starts looking through some of the things she has left behind, pictures and whatnot. Then he finds the fabric she bought at the red light district along with a sketch of clothes and a newspaper article talking about the summit. He puts two and two together and he calls Wax. Wax is about to smoke the car when, amazingly enough, he answers his phone. I mean, who doesn't answer their phone while they're hanging out of the side of the car and carrying a rocket launcher? Reese says he believes that Caroline is heading to the summit. Wax says that he can see her in the car. Reese asks if he is sure, and Wax has the driver get to where he can clearly see both figures in the car. It turns out that what he thought was Caroline is simply a mannequin. Reese says he's heading to the summit, and Wax says that he will meet him there once he smokes the diversion. He then has the driver get way up in front of the car, up upon an overpass. Wax blows up the car just before it can ram into the U.S. delegation cars. Meanwhile, at the summit meeting, Reese shows up at the embassy, but it appears that his card has already been used to allow someone into the facility. I'm going to guess that the security team is new since none of them are familiar with Reese, the personal aide to the ambassador. Luckily, the ambassador is there to vouch for him. They let him in, but he sets off the metal detector and the guards see that he has a gun. They pull him aside as he warns the ambassador that he believes that his girlfriend is going to blow up the summit. They then let Reese go so that he can look to see if Caroline is here. Security follows him to make sure that Reese is on the up and up. Upstairs, Reese sees a figure dressed in the garb that Caroline had made, and he calls her name. The figure turns slightly towards him, but enough for us to see the face. The figure then ducks into a room. It turns out there are multiple figures in the room in the same orange garb. Desperate, Reese takes the gun off of one of the security agents and everyone starts to flee. Reese is screaming Caroline's name. A single figure comes to his attention. He points the gun at it. Meanwhile, all the security agents are pointing their guns at him, telling him to put his gun down. When Caroline takes off her hood and pulls open the cloak, she reveals the bomb vest underneath. Everyone then points their guns at her, but Reese warns that they might set off the vest. He tries to reason with her, telling her that he loves her. He sees that she's about to set off the explosive, so he shoots her in the head. Wax has shown up during this time, and he catches her falling body and gently lowers it to the floor before deactivating the bomb. So huzzah! They've saved the day. Time to celebrate.
I want to know who's responsible for this delay, and I want him fired.
Well, maybe not so much. Cut to a bit later. Reese has taken Wax to the airport so that he can go on his next mission. They have a few character moments, and we find out that Reese has taken a shine to the cloak and dagger business. The end. And there you have it, From Paris with Love. Not too bad if I say so myself. The first time I saw it, I really enjoyed it. I will say that on review, while I like the action, the shaky cam stuff was a bit off-putting, and at times it is edited with multiple quick cuts to make it look more exciting than the stunts probably actually are. But for the most part, I think the action works well, and the story is interesting enough to keep my attention. That isn't to say there aren't problems with the story. The biggest one being just what it was the cause that Caroline has found that has brought so much meaning to her life. A cause that she is willing to die for. Stopping U.S. aid to Africa? Seriously? Perhaps it's just the usual the U.S. is the great Satan bit. I don't know. As it stands, they're just generic bad guys there to be killed by our heroes, which in turn makes the film somewhat generic fluff. Still, Travolta and Rhys Meyers are quite fun to watch and are the prime reason I recommend this film. It was directed by Pierre Morel, best known for District B13, Taken, From Paris with Love, and Peppermint. He does a fine job getting good performances out of the cast, and the action scenes are generally well shot, although the shaky cam is annoying. It was written by Luc Besson and Addie Hassick. Besson is best known for La Femme Nikita, Leon the Professional, The Fifth Element, and Taken. Hassick is best known for Shadow Conspiracy, From Paris with Love, 3 Days to Kill, and Eyewitness. The script is okay, but could have used another pass or two to achieve the pathos that they were trying to go for. It stars John Travolta, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, and Kasia Smutniak. Everyone does a fine job with both Travolta and Rhys Meyers doing the heavy lifting. It was rated R with lots of gun violence, some martial arts, and profanity. It's not for the young kids. At an hour and 32 minutes, it won't eat up your day or night. Once Travolta arrives, everything moves along at a pretty quick pace. The budget for the movie was $52 million, and it took in $52.8 million, so with Hollywood accounting, it lost money. It has a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, Metacritic has it at 42 out of 100, and Rotten Tomatoes has it at 37% per critics and 54% per audience. I agree with the IMDb score. I'd give it about a 6.5 out of 10. It's a serviceable action movie. None of it is bad, but it is mostly gunplay and not much close-up action, so it doesn't rise to the level of a great action movie. Still, Travolta looks like he's having a blast, and that brought this viewer quite a bit of fun too. I say check it out. Once again, thanks for watching. Until next time.
It's one small step for man,